Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm back to do this video for you guys. So first, I want to say thanks to everyone who voted. So everyone who voted, it really helps when I do those polls and you vote on whether you want to see a video or not, because the demand increases the value of the channel. Sometimes it just works better and makes it more efficient around here. So thank you for that. Also, so without further ado, this video is about Pisces being wishy-washy. All right, so first I want to say, it took me a little bit of time to actually jump out and do this, and something told me, like, hold on for a minute, right? Because just recently, Alyssa Trahan does it again. Hive mind activity. I kid you not. So she does a series of videos which I recommend you go check out. It's based upon divine feminine energy, Lilith, Eve in the Garden of Eden, Aphrodite, and Venus. It's a lot, right? But she really goes through it, so you could tell, like, she felt it, like the intuition was sharp, and she just went in. But it definitely gave me some insight on how to approach this already, even more than the ideas that I already had. All right, so the reason being is, right, I'm gonna start off by saying something that she said that was very intriguing to me, is when she said the true representation of divine feminine energy is the Garden of Eden. It's not actually in the physical form. And so you could look at this as in the archetype of Mother Earth, how man comes here through woman to interact, or whatever the case may be, and divine feminine energy will reject that man or that male or that energy should it be repelling, or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not sure, I'm paraphrasing right now, but she said something along those lines, which made a lot of sense to me, because when you look at it as from like a biblical text, like Adam nor Eve was perfect after their interactions had taken place, right? So that just lets you know that the perfection of divinity could not even be found in the species. I'm not saying that it can't, or that it couldn't have. I'm just saying it didn't happen that way, as the story says. All right, so I say that to say this: Pisces being wishy-washy, right? So first, let's define wishy-washy. Wishy-washy is the inability to decide on something. Okay, the inability to decide on something. Now, before I go into depths, I want to also express this: that the inability to decide on something just does not totally mean that it's messed up. It can also mean that you've made a decision and not taking action. You understand what I'm talking about? There can also be power in delay. There can also be power in procrastination. There can also be, so already you see I'm coming to the defense of Pisces. However, I know how some of you want it right now, self-gratifying, instant gratification people are out there who says, oh, just make up your mind already. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I am going to tell you, first admitting that, yes, there are times where I am very wishy-washy. All right? So they could probably come up with a better term for that anyway. But however, it is what it is, right? So let me first explain astrologically wise why this is. I don't even, there's no real heartfelt emotion behind this. Analyze them and give you the analytical study on how this can be. First of all, when the lights are on, which is under the solar chart, right? When the lights are on, Pisces, just like every other sun sign, has their sun in the first house. Understand this: the first house in astrology is a angular house, which means it's the lead-off house. It's the start of something. Doesn't mean it's the finisher of something. It means the start of something, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to follow through on it. It's the start of something. Now, Pisces is ruled by a cadent house, which is a finisher of something, the package of something, the final product of something. All right? So here already you have your first issue, which is a cadent sign which finishes things, is put under a microscope, solar power, focus, energy, in a position where they have to lead. All right. So what happens here is you may see Pisces lead off in relationships. They may lead off in many relationships and they don't follow through on them, because the follow through would be considered what? Being a decision maker, right? What are we going to eat tonight? What do you suggest? You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way that Pisces are wired. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that Pisces are always like this, or that all Pisces are like this either. I'll get to that later, though, when I get to Pisces and Pisces. All right, so with that being said, right, Pisces having the inability to actually follow through because of that placement under the microscope, people get pissed off, especially significant others, right? Now, I'm not going to say this is for all signs of significant others of the Pisces as well. Some women, some people, right? I'm not even going to turn this into gender just yet, but some people actually adore the fact that their partner gives them the freedom and the ability to decide things on their own, right, Aquarius? So we can't put this all on certain types of signs. However, I will use the Scorpio archetype right now to explain. I've seen someone in the comment section state that, you know, that's why it's kind of weird with Scorpio. I think they choose the Cancer over the Scorpio, as a matter of fact, because Scorpio can think that their Pisces man is a pussy because they don't do aggressive type things or have aggressive mannerisms, or, you know, just address things with authority and say, this is what you're doing, this is what, you know what I'm saying? So that's interesting as well. And the reason being is because this, whether people know it or not, Scorpios like to be dominated. Like, they obsess and daydream about being dominated, and I mean sexually, on a consistent basis. You understand what I'm saying? At the same time, you got to understand this. Scorpio, the sign, is ruled by the libido, and Scorpio rules over death. Scorpio rules over other things, and the 8th house rules over other things. However, I want to use death as a very descriptive detail about this lesson that I'm giving right now. Not only do they rule over death, Scorpio, they have DNA that is very strong. So they can endure a lot of penetration. They can endure a lot of even like types of diseases and stuff like that, ailments or whatever the case may be. And they may actually get something through the process as well. So I say that to say this: their activity when it comes to things that vibrate on a lower frequency is more engaging than a Pisces would address and approach things, despite Pisces being, you know, a house of sex and a 12th house of Saturn and a third. It's different. So, you know, it was also made clear that the typical, I'm not saying all Scorpios aren't like this either, but the typical Scorpio likes an alpha male, right? And they like a brute male. Just a brute male, right? Now, Pisces is more along the lines of a Sigma male, all right? So I don't know if you're accustomed with what a Sigma male is. If not, look it up, but I'll give a brief definition. Sigma male is like this. It has the same capabilities of an alpha male, right? It just doesn't care to go out there and strut their stuff in front of everybody to let that be known. They work much better alone, and one of the reasons is because they know intuitively that they may not get along with the whole group collective thing, and they will probably fail at showmanship, like stroking someone's ego to get things done. So to avoid the, which I would call fraudulence, they stay over here. All right. Now again, they can perform and everything. It's just they rather do it over here. So the primary difference when from the outside looking in is, okay, the alpha has more power because the alpha gravitates more people to them because they have this all powerful position that the rest, whether they're beta, whether they're sigmas just going for the ride or whatever the case may be, go along with, because they don't possess that type of capability on their own, or they just choose not to bring it out of themselves. Granted. Now, a Scorpio woman is going to adore that because it's power involved. It's exerted power, right? So there's all types of different power, but it's exerted, it's shown, it's extroverted. So Scorpio female is more intrigued by that, the typical type, right? So, but you got to understand this as well, especially in the times that we're living in now. In the caveman times, of course, that would be the ideal thing to think about, right? You're still in the jungles, still got to fight off lions, hyenas, and bears. Oh my! So you would want, I guess, the brute. You know what I mean? However, at the same time, you got to think about this. There's always been strategists in the world too, which has the more of the Virgo archetype, which says, well, lions hunt around this time. Why y'all posted up behind a tree with slingshots? You're going to be sitting there for another 36 hours before you ever see a lion. You understand what I'm saying? So, all right, let me not divert too much away from what I'm saying. So when Scorpio prefers that type of male, what happens here is that is the definition in today's terms of masculine toxicity. Let's not call it male toxicity, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but it's masculine toxicity. And masculine toxicity, and the reason why I said let's not call it male is because females actually operate along the lines of male toxicity as well, toxicity as well. I just seen a TED study, as a matter of fact, where this professor did a study and come to find out extroverted women engage and initiate sex 7 times more than the introverted person. You understand what I'm talking about? So don't think like women are not at bars purposely and asking if you can buy them a drink, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're basically have the typical Scorpio mindset, right? They want to be dominated after a few drinks. We'll get back to that. Well, would you call that a life design? I just want to throw this in there real quick. Would you call that a life? If you thought about eternal life for a minute, would you call that a life design? If someone wants to get trashed until they can't remember anymore and then get dominated? See, some people are in prison to this day for that type of activity. So would you call that a pro-life design, or would you call that a death design? Scorpios, get in the comment box. I'm throwing little shots here and there, right? Because I just need people to understand this stuff, right? So again, masculine toxicity, excuse me, right? So again, in these days and times, and Alyssa said something about this as well. She mentioned how we're in the new age. She mentioned how population is at the level right now that we don't have to make more babies. Like, there's enough babies out there in the world that possibly are not properly taken care of, that there can be adoptions left and right if people really wanted to care for children. I think the multiplying more or breeding more children now is more of a selfish act, or either that or an unconscious act. And I don't mean to say that to degrade anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. Again, this is not a heartfelt analysis or lesson that I'm giving right here. However, these days and times, it doesn't call for that, right? So what do we need a brute for? What do we need? And I'm not just saying a man, women included. I know you've seen women who act like masculine, right? And again, this is not a shot at them either. There's some of them that I actually favor. But my point is this: who needs people pounding on their chest and like saying, "Move, I'll fight the gorilla," or I'll spear the lion. Like, what century are you in? Not only that, with all of the knowledge, we're in the Aquarius age. Just embrace it, y'all. With all of the knowledge at your fingertips, right? Who needs someone at their job to sit from on top of a hierarchy or pyramid and say, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you do that, you, and they may be dumber than a box of rocks. You may actually be able to pick up on them being dumber than a box of rocks. You may ask them questions about the job that they don't even know that you know. So you yourself confirm that this alpha individual placed in this position because people listen to them is dumb. So again, in these days and times, we still refer to this as masculine toxicity. Now again, I must stress this. There are no bears and lions inside of the work environment. They're not even downstairs when you get off of the elevator. So really take this into consideration of what I'm saying. So I say that to say this. Masculine toxicity is the exact opposite of Venus being exalted. So Venus is attraction levels and interaction harmoniously between more than one person. Okay? And Venus is exalted inside of the sign of Pisces. So when women are like, yo, this wishy-washy Pisces dude, you know, he'll be kicking it to me. The next time he see a chick over there, he's kicking it to her like this, and he's being nice to this one. Like, I need a mean man. I need someone who's not going to be so inviting and open to discuss and so willing to help other people. Now, that's being possessive. That's being jealous. Those traits, those Taurian type, Scorpion type traits, right? Everyone can possess these traits, though. So let me call it more along the lines of Plutonian traits. Eighth house traits. Also, wherever your eighth house is, I bet you sensed jealousy your own in that place before. But my point is, this is more how the Pisces has an ideology, because harmony is primacy when it comes to the Pisces. You understand what I'm talking about? And it doesn't mean that Pisces doesn't want to get graphic and have buck wild, naked sex either. Doesn't mean that. However, what I can tell you about the Pisces is there's like a hidden secret contract that I can touch on right now. Not fully, though. It's that sensitive. Under the microscope, which is the sun, solar energy focus, right? Pisces solar chart, 7th house, which deals with marriage. It's in the sign of Virgo, right? Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, right? 7th house. Now, Virgo, when you have Virgo in the 7th house, you're attracted to a practical partner. And the more adjustable and adaptable you are, the better you do. And you are known, or should I say, favored for humor and intelligence. It's not known for having buck wild naked sex and hitting it from the back and going okay. It's not known for that. Not only that, Venus falls inside of the sign of Virgo. And Virgo represents what? The woman, right? The archetype of the actual bodily woman. We're not even talking about Venus. As Alyssa spoke on, Venus is the epiphany, if you will, of divine feminine energy. You know, it's the exercise of it. It's the energy behind it, right? But the woman, the actual woman, Virgo, the virgin, is not the same thing. And if it was, wouldn't you think that Venus would be exalted or dignified inside of it? It's not, though. It falls inside of the sign of Virgo. So what happens here is you have a Pisces who is the unifier of all things, the complete package, right? All 1 through 12, who is under the microscope in a leading position, who seeks to marry or, contract with their significant other. And then when they get there, it's this analytical genius who's a virgin, who does not care to feel. They think how they feel. You understand what I'm saying? So it puts Pisces in a compromising position, and one that makes Pisces so lonely. And when Pisces faces rejection, they feel shot to the ground, because it's like they have this sense that they're doomed when it comes to actually solidifying the choice of a mate, right? When I say mate, I mean actual mating. You know what I mean? And when it comes to dealing out, that's just the Virgo sign, right? This contract, this secret contract that Pisces have with, yes, actual Virgo suns is very interesting. very classified information. Now, it does not mean Pisces won't choose other partners to have sex with, and it's probably better, or should I say more beneficial for a Pisces to have sex with another different type of sun sign, because they get to always reference the Virgo compatibility when it comes to choosing another mate. So what do I mean about that in detail? It's like, okay, Pisces has experienced being in a relationship with a Virgo, right? And they see how there's no really affectionate love there, right? Like, I'm gonna tell you like this, and I'm gonna make sure that I remember this and I come back to this point of being with another mate other than Virgo, right? So my biological mother was a Virgo. You understand what I'm talking about? My mother hit me one time in my entire life. Once. She always spoke to me like I was God's gift to the world. But not on like a braggadocious level, just on a level of intelligence. Like, she spoke to me like I was a grown-up when I was a child. Because she's seen the way I carried myself, and she was just like, you're a great child. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're intelligent. She saw my intelligence ever since I was a baby. Now, I don't recall my mother hugging me. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not putting her down for this either. That's her archetype. She was a Virgo. You understand what I'm saying? She was a genius. When it came to brain work, she always finished word puzzles like immediately. That was her favorite thing. She was educated and everything. So I don't blame my mother for not showing me that type of affection. What she did in grooming me at a young age was letting me know, like, look, you got this already. Like, you can carry this out. You're not subservient because you're 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? But as I grew older, I started to hug my mom. You know what I'm saying? I hug my mother. Like, come here. Pisces, we give the best hugs. You understand what I'm talking about? So that was my job. It wasn't her job. It was my job. So my point is, a Virgo does not make the greatest nurturer. A Virgo suggests that the individual, and if you're a man included, raise yourself off intelligence, because they're watching, they're analytical, they're organizational, and they can tell whether you meet the criteria or not. Flat out. It's nothing personal. It's just that's the way it is. And sure, Virgo is a negative sign, and sure, Virgo is a feminine sign. However, it's like, when you think about it, in all of the feminine signs, they're like the savior of all the feminine signs, because Virgo also represents the woman who comes into the city on ship, on sea, with the herbs and the medicines to do what? Heal the people. So there's another thing about Pisces. When a Pisces finds out and identifies that the woman archetype does not take care of themselves, they get very upset behind this. And whether or not they show it to you or not, they may not show it to you. Some Pisces just, they can't help it, and they will explode on you if you are doing something that is draining to yourself, or something that is hurtful to yourself. Now, I know Pisces get the rap for being drug addicts and all that stuff too. Sure, they can do the escapist route and take the escapist route, and that a lot of the times comes around from their surrounding environment. And it's just like, well, why not? Everybody else is doing it. Or like, that's how they fit in. Everybody, in order for people to be social, they got to go to the bar. So you see Pisces at the bar, and Pisces will drink. Not that they should. But, a lot of Pisces are health conscious, though. Very health conscious. So when they are addressing the woman archetype, it's not because they're a man, right? So like, back to the Scorpio mindset, it's not because, we're being a man and we're pounding our chest and we're saying, look, don't do that. Like, why you doing that shit? Like, don't do that. Excuse my language. Why you doing that though? Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, a Scorpio might get turned on by that. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever sign might get turned on like that. Like, oh, look at him. He's man. He's a man. He's mad and he's mean. You know what I'm saying? But a Pisces is speaking from divine feminine energy. A Pisces is a feminine sign. So whether it's a man, people are getting caught up in men. We have dicks, yeah, we're men. We have dicks and balls. We have cocks. You know what I'm saying? Our voices become deeper, That is all for a reason, too, that has to deal with characteristics of the sun, which is in our DNA structure, that we have more chromosomes, a certain chromosome more than the female archetype has. That's all that really is, though. When it comes to introvert, extrovert, and feminine, and masculine. Pisces is speaking to you from the heart of the divine feminine, not because of all of this. And that's why you can see so many women flocking to Pisces or coming to Pisces for advice or, catering to Pisces. And people be like, yo, why are you doing all of that for this dude? Like, he's a man. Like, what are you doing? Like, let him do for himself. You just don't get it. So I understand. Again, this capitalizes off what Alyssa was talking about as being a Garden of Eden. Like, we come here as man to play. And whether woman or divine feminine energy wants to receive us or not is really up to the divine feminine energy. They can reject us. You got to remember, this is feminine energy. Feminine signs in astrology are negative. So what does that mean, negative? They will take away. They will take away man if they are not favoring that man, whether it's behavior, expression, love, whatever their divine universal law for it is. And you can call it karmic, but that's what it is. It's really because you're in the realm of activity. You're in the realm of divine feminine energy. It's like you're inside the womb, right? You ever went out of space? When you go, you come back, you tell me how it was. Until then, you're in this bubble with us. You get what I'm saying? So as we play in Mother Earth, that's how that goes. So when Pisces is rejected, they feel it's something that they feel intuitively, and they know that something is incorrect in the lines of either behavior or choice or selection. So this is what makes them timid, Pisces. So they be like, yo, do you want me or not? The significant other's like, do you want me or not? Show it every day. Show me right now. Why you didn't text me back? And Pisces is just like, are you serious? Like, hold on for a minute, because this may happen, this may happen, this may happen, this may happen. And our minds are ruled by the subconscious mind, right? So if you're an extroverted or masculine sign, you may be, or fixed sign, you're more narrow-minded, you're more fixated on what it is you want. But Pisces, we can get what we want, but it's like when we get it, the want is still there. We're going to want something else and want something else and want something else. And then you've heard of it. It's like a drug. It's just like when you get the new iPhone. Oh yeah, I got it. But once the life cycle expires, you don't want it no more. It's all slow. It's got bugs in it. You don't want it no more. You either want the new iPhone or you're just done with phones. I don't want no fucking phones no more. Excuse my language, please. But you get what I'm saying? So a Pisces does not like to feel pressured in making decisions based upon what someone else wants for them, unless it's an emerging process, that it's something that we both want for each other. And that's why Pisces on Pisces is the epitome of harmony, because Pisces women let the man be the man, and Pisces men treat Pisces women like women. Like it's like the perfect mixture. Why? Because consent is involved. There's no masculine toxicity. It's like this. If a Pisces woman wants a Pisces man to tell her what to do, she'll phrase the question that signals to that Pisces man, listen, this is your decision. Action. And these role-playing too, Pisces man will deliver. Well, you're not going. Flat out. Right? And vice versa. If the Pisces woman wants to feel like a woman, she will signal that too. Like she wants to feel adored. She wants to feel some type of affection. She wants to feel admired. She'll put the energy out. She'll give the consent for that. And then Pisces man acts on it. It's a vice versa thing, but it's a harmonious thing. You understand what I'm saying? It's not based upon somebody else, one of them saying, I want you to do this and I want you to do it this way and I want you to do it continuously. Pisces just don't operate that way. That's not harmonious. It's pretty much what I'm saying. That's dissonance. You understand what I'm saying? So now let's get back to Pisces choosing another mate, right? Other than the Virgo archetype, the Virgin archetype, the woman archetype, the real natural, because Virgos are the epitome of women, right? So think about this for a minute. If a virgin is the epitome of woman, what does that tell you about any other relationship outside of that. Sure, there'll be bodily women, but doesn't it suggest that when you start damaging in any type of way these other types of women, that is a design for what? Is it pro-life, or is it a death design? Now, again, I mentioned death, I mentioned Scorpio, I mentioned the libido, the 8th house. Now, there are situations, again, and the reason, this is why I'm saying while Pisces chooses another mate, is because that urge to actually engage in sex, and there can be sexual healing. You heard the song, right? So the Pisces will long for that type of energy or that type of experience, therefore will date in a way that satisfies those urges, those bed pleasures, if you will, right? And if you see a Pisces that has not decided to act with a woman on that level, again, you will consider that as being wishy-washy, right? And again, the whole thing may come up, well, he's with another chick, or he picked another chick, or whatever the case may be, but he's told me this and he told the other one that, and this and that. This boy don't know what he want, or this girl don't know what she want. You know what I'm saying? Not true. Just going with the flow. Not only that, again, you have a angular, under the microscope, you have a mutable cadent sign inside of an angular position. So to a Pisces, it's like, I'm just swimming, man. Like, I'm roaming through here. Like, I got the end game in the back of my mind. However, it's not solidified until the end. So if I mess with you and I swim away and I mess with somebody else, or maybe I'm alone. Did you ever think of that? Possibly I'm alone. And I come back, I'm not thinking that you're going to be hurt, or that you're going to be dissatisfied with my behavior, or whatever the case may be. Like, who does, to a Pisces, it's like, who does that? Because we're healers. Again, so like I said, if a woman or a significant other destroys themselves in a way that brings themselves harm, Pisces get disturbed by this. We're natural healers, come to find out. So when we leave based upon that significant other's type of behavior, when we come back, we think you're healed, because time heals all wounds. And if we come back and you still distorted, we just like, yo, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And you may look, and the significant other will look back at the Pisces like, you actually came back here and you still don't know what you want? So you still ready to walk out of the door? Like, what did you even come back for? I came back to check on you. Right? Because if this person finds out that they're a healer, and this person finds out that the end is not the end until the end is actually there, and that they're not obligated to let a significant other speed up the process by saying, come on, come get in me, right? Then what is the point? Like, why rush this whole process? Like, I can go do what I want. Like, there's something obviously incorrect about that other person or that situation. I call it a situation because things change. You know what I'm saying? It's really principles. It's not the actual people. But when you have archetypes that are fixed, when you have archetypes that obsess over being dominated, when you have archetypes that vibrate at a lower frequency on a constant because of their fuel for desires to be met, then you got to understand that you're going to have an opposition to that as well. Right? So now, Pisces, okay, I went to the Pisces on Pisces consent. Now let's get to the moon. I must talk about the moon and how the moon plays a part in this as well, right? The moon rules over the sixth sense. The moon rules over subconscious mind, and the moon rules over memories. Now, the moon, just like Venus is exalted inside of Pisces, the moon is exalted inside of Taurus. So you may have seen in other previous videos where I say, well, Taurus, you got to be careful. Like, every time they come to me about the whole Scorpio thing, and I'll be like, listen, I know it is very challenging for you to resist the Scorpion energy. And I'm not telling you to go towards it, and I'm not telling you to avoid it. What I'm telling you is This is an energy that is ruled by the lower libido, the lower frequency, right? So Taurus is ruled by the throat, the sense of taste, right? So the things that come out of your mouth and food, the things that go in your mouth, will determine your level of emotional well-being, your level of repetition, your level of working memory, which is very important. I'm going to talk about this when I do the Pisces healing magic video. I'm going to do a poll for it first, but somebody suggested that I do it. But this is why I tell Taurus to just be aware of that, because for the moon to be your mind state, your mental state, and you compromise that in some type of way for the satisfaction of lower frequency interaction, then the results are on you. And again, Taurus is, if not the first, the second strongest DNA structure when it comes to the human anatomy. So they can endure penetration and feely, touchy stuff more than the average sign. You understand what I'm talking about? So it's like Pisces having a healing power but not using the healing power. Like, what do you have it for? So it's like Taurus, they know they have this feeling power of, wanting to experience things on a sensual level. So it's like, do they not experience it? So that's what I tell them, to be aware of that, right? But you got to think about it. Your mental, your mind state, which also is ruled by your emotions, the moon is what is exalted inside of this sign. So if you ever see a Taurus depressed or a Taurus going through something, now you know why they're going through that. It's determined based upon what they are putting in their mouth and what they are saying out of it. So if it's come get these buns tonight so they can be penetrated, then the result or the consequence of that is what it is. I'm not telling you to deprive yourself of sex, Taurus. I'm just saying, listen closely to what I'm saying and read in between the lines if you have to, right? But this is the moon that's exalted in it. And the reason why I'm bringing up the moon in Taurus and Venus being exalted in Pisces is because Venus rules over Taurus. And this is why I speak in these types of ways, is because I'm a feminine sign. So I'm not hating on other guys either. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be aware of this type of stuff, because Pisces is ruled, the whole 12th house is ruled by the subconscious mind. So for the Scorpio, the typical Scorpio archetype, I'm not beating up all y'all Scorpios, but for the typical Scorpio archetype who says Pisces is too fluid sometimes, he's too lax and nonchalant about stuff, if he wants spaghetti, just say spaghetti, like yell it in the house, let me hear it, you know what I'm saying? And Pisces is just like, chick, you bogged out. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because Pisces 12th house is also ruled by surrender. You hear the 12-step program, right? And what's the chant? To allow myself to believe, to understand that there's something more powerful than me that is operating behind the scenes that makes things move. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm butchering it, right? But you know what I'm saying. I'm paraphrasing, but it says something along those lines, right? So this the 12th house is ruled by surrender. Like, look, I'll let go. None of this is as important to me as it is important to you. You know what I'm saying? I can let it go and it be nothing. Now, Pisces has to be careful as well that they're not manipulated, in, especially with their tendency to be so, gullible at times, that it's important for them to form their own opinions and say, no, that's what you want, then I'll actually, like, a Pisces will actually benefit off of seeing another, like, masculine energy go and penetrate whatever woman that they was interested in, or whatever woman that is interested in them, and say, okay, well, thanks. You know what I'm saying? I just dodged one because she couldn't wait or see what I had for end game. You know what I'm saying? So she chose to be with dude or the other dude or whatever the case may be, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? I don't gotta worry about that no more. You know what I'm saying? And the reason subconscious mind is what you gotta understand. Subconscious mind is like, there is a plethora of possibilities. So what I'm saying is this: for all you people out there who are saying that maybe you're in your 20s and you're like, I know what I want. I'm going to go get it. I want that car, so I'm going to go get it. You may have like an Aries type thing going on and like, I don't want that. I'm going to work for it. I'm going to save up this much. I'm going to buy it on this date, da, 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 and I'm going to keep going and I'm going to just get. Consume. All right, that's you. However, Pisces knows that there's a lot of different opportunities. Not only that, Pisces will have prophetic dreams. Like I just had one recently that even aided in this whole speaking about the Virgo and all that. Like there are so many potential possibilities that a Pisces is just not willing to strike out on simply you. Like you're the one? Like really? How? Like you're the one every day, 365 days, 24 hours of the day? Like how did you come up with that? Who told you this? Who made this rule? Who made this law? Right? Because Pisces will look at universal law through Venus and say something is not correct about this. Why? Because the interaction is not harmonious. Yeah, a Pisces can get mean, a Pisces can get angry, a Pisces can even be violent. But why is the real question. You know what I'm saying? Because they were manipulated by their significant other, their lover. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but that's what you need to know of why Pisces are wishy-washy. That was an in-depth explanation. And it was simplified, if you ask me. If you got any comments, questions, get inside of the comment box. You want to extend this further, I have no problem with that. I'm out.